You know, we know that the holidays are coming when the Amaryllis bulbs arrive here at Anderson Seed and Garden, and we have about 20 to 25 different beautiful colors of Amaryllis, different styles as well too. One of my very favorites is this one right here. It's called Black Pearl, and it's a beautiful, deep, shiny, glossy red, and so it's one of the prettiest Amaryllis bulbs that we've got. But we've got pink and orange and white and you know, all kinds of different colors to choose from here, and all of our bulbs, all of our Amaryllis are available on our website, so you can go right to our website, look at all the different colors. There'll be pictures and descriptions of each of the bulb, and then we can ship those out, or you can come and see them right here at Anderson Seed and Garden. But you can pot your own. We'll pot them up for you, and I'm going to show you exactly today how to pot your own Amaryllis bulbs. So really easy process to do. Now what you want to do is, when you're selecting Amaryllis, you can get a bulb that has, you know, a lot of root system to it. It really doesn't make a lot of difference if you have a big root system or a small root system in how they bloom. But there's some tricks that we want to show you on how to plant it so that it will bloom a lot better for you. One of those tricks is you want to submerge the bulb in water, like just room temperature water, for 24 hours before you plant it. So I've got a bucket full of water here. I've got a bulb in here that we've been soaking. Just take your bulb, submerge it in that water for 24 hours before you plant, and what it will do is it will rehydrate up all the roots so that when you transplant it, it will take off a lot faster. Just to kind of prepares the bulb, gets it ready to start blooming. So you get blooms earlier, and your blooms will be bigger and they'll be more plentiful because you hydrated the bulb up. So usually we'll use, for a standard size bulb, and these bulbs are a 34 centimeter size bulb. We also have 40 centimeter bulbs. Those are the really big ones. Our 34 centimeter bulbs usually produce anywhere between 2 and 3 flower stems, and they'll have 4 to 6 flowers on each stem. So it's not unusual to get, you know, 12, even more flowers on one of our standard size bulbs. The 40 centimeter bulbs, which are just massive, you can hardly get your hands around them, they'll produce 3 to 4 flower stems with 4 to 6 flowers on each one of those. And it's very common to have 14 to 20 flowers on our full size, you know, 40 centimeter type bulbs. Standard plastic pot, make sure it has holes in the bottom. You want to have about a 7 or 8 inch saucer to put it in, so that when you water, the water doesn't drain out all over the place. And what we like to do is put a little piece of paper towel. You know, it's just a standard paper towel I've just torn up. We'll put that down on the bottom of the pot so that the soil doesn't fall out when we're potting the bulb up. So make sure and put that little bit of paper towel down the bottom. It'll allow for good drainage that way, but it will keep the soil from falling out. You want to make sure you use a really good potting soil, and the best potting soil that we have here at Anderson's is our Ultimate Potting Mix. So this is from Fertilome Ultimate Potting Mix. It's a high quality mix of peat moss, perlite, a little bit of vermiculite, some humate, and that's it. No junk, no bark, no fillers. This is the best soil that we've got and that we've used for years and years. So the Fertilome Ultimate Potting Mix is a great way to get your bulb started off right and give it the soil that it needs to hold the moisture and to really help your bulb produce the flowers that we want to get out of it. So what I usually will do is put a little bit of soil down in the bottom. And we're going to use this bag that's already open. Probably about a third of the way we want to fill that up, and you can see what the soil looks like in there. So really nice, light, fluffy soil, lots of peat moss, lots of perlite in that mix with the Ultimate Potting Mix. And then we're going to pull our bulb out that's been soaking in water. And so you can see the roots are hydrated up. I like to kind of dig an impression down in the bottom so that the roots don't get bent or broken or crushed when we put it back in there. So I'll dig a little bit of a hole right in the middle so that the roots can kind of fit in there. And when you're potting up the bulb, we want to leave about 30% of the bulb exposed and cover up about 70% of it. So if we want the bulb to show about that much, you've got to kind of hold the bulb as you pour soil in around it. You know, like rearrange things a little bit here so I can get to the bulb a little bit easier. And we want the soil to go in around the bulb. So there we go. And we want to cover that bulb up, like I said, about 70%. So I'm kind of supporting the bulb with my hand, holding it up so that the roots don't get crushed with the soil when I put it in there, and then I can get the soil in around it so it will stand up a little bit better on its own. I'm going to pack a little bit of that soil in around the bulb. And you can reposition it just a little bit. So I'm going to pull the bulb up just a little bit so I can get some more soil packed in around the roots, and that way it doesn't crush or damage the roots when you're putting that bulb in there. So it's important that you can kind of support it, get the soil in around it, and then we can add a little bit more soil as we go. Alright, that looks a little bit better. As you start to water the bulb, what's going to happen is the soil is going to kind of compact down a little bit. It's going to settle, and so you want to make sure that like I said, about 30% of the bulb is exposed. And so you may have to add a little bit of soil after you start watering. So once we get that in there, you can kind of see that about a third of the bulb is sticking out. The rest is buried in there. This is approximately how you would like it to look. Like I said, as you water, the soil is going to settle just a little bit. Once you get the soil in there, we like to put a little bit of a slow release fertilizer in there. So our Garden Coat 6 from Fertilome, it's a 3 to 4 month slow release fertilizer with micronutrients. It's great for your Amaryllis bulbs. We'll put a little bit of that fertilizer in there, about a tablespoon or so, maybe a little bit more on it. And that can just sit on the surface. Every time you water, it's going to feed your bulb just a little bit, and that's pretty much it. We'll take a little tag, put our tag in there, and that's it. At this point, if you want the bulb to start getting ready and start blooming fairly quickly, this is when you want to water it. A lot of our customers want to have some that are producing flowers for the holidays, and some that are maybe blooming after the holidays are over so they can enjoy it during the winter time. So if you want the bulbs to not bloom as quickly, don't water them. Keep them in a cooler location, and they might start sending leaves or flower buds up on their own. But if you keep them in this state in a cooler location, it's going to take a lot longer for them to bloom. You can have them to enjoy in January and maybe even February as well too. But if you want to get them going, this is when you want to start watering them, and you can water them to the point that it saturates the soil all the way through. And then usually I'll let that water collect down in the bottom of the saucer. Make sure and dump the excess water out. So if the water drains down into the saucer, make sure it doesn't stand in that water. Get rid of that water so it's not standing in water all the time. But usually I'll water them until the water drains out through the bottom and starts to collect in the saucer, and then discard that extra water. The soil will be saturated at that point, and we'll probably only water about once every week to 10 days until the leaves and the flower buds start coming up. When you start to get a flower bud sticking out of the top of the bulb, you'll want to water a little bit more frequently, so probably about every 4 to 5 days instead. So super easy to do. Put them in a location where they get lots of bright indirect light, but where the sun doesn't shine right on them, and you want good ambient temperatures, anywhere between 68 and 73 degrees will be great. And it usually takes about 4 to 6 weeks for them to bloom, and once they start blooming, you've just got gorgeous, beautiful flowers that last for a couple weeks. When they start to bloom, you can move them to a little bit cooler location to get the flowers to last a little bit longer. But Amaryllis bulbs, wonderful way to enjoy the holidays, but also to give you some cheer and some color indoors during the winter time in January and February when it's snowy and cold and blowing outside. And we've got so many colors here at Anderson's to choose from. This is the way to plant them up and enjoy them throughout the holidays and through the winter time as well.